Have you ever promised yourself that you'd change, only to find yourself doing the same old things tomorrow and the next day and the day after that? You dream of success, of a better life. But somehow every morning you choose comfort instead of action. This is the story of a young blacksmith who felt exactly like you, until one day everything changed. Music. Once upon a time, in a peaceful little village surrounded by rolling green hills, sparkling rivers, and fields of golden wheat, there lived a young blacksmith named Ethan. He was strong, clever, and gifted with the hammer and anvil. The villagers admired his talent and often said Ethan could craft the finest swords and tools in the entire land. But Ethan had a problem. He was lazy. He dreamed of greatness, but never took action. Every morning he would wake up slowly, sip his tea, and watch the clouds drift gently across the sky. "I'll start my work tomorrow, or maybe next week," he would tell himself. And so, day after day, his dreams remained just that, dreams. Ethan's workshop was filled with shining iron, heavy hammers, and half-forged tools. Orders piled up, plows for farmers, swords for guards, and repairs for villagers, all waiting for Ethan's skill. Yet he delayed, thinking, "I'll do it when I feel ready." Some days he would sit by the river, watching the water flow, imagining the applause he would receive if only he worked hard. He pictured himself as a great blacksmith, respected and admired. But as the sun dipped below the horizon, he always returned home empty-handed, whispering to himself, "Tomorrow I'll start for sure." One bright morning, Ethan's best friend Daniel, a hard-working farmer, came to visit him. "Ethan," Daniel said kindly, "why do you always wait? You have such talent. If you finished your work, you could make everyone happy, and yourself too." Ethan shrugged lazily. "I'll do it when I feel like it," he replied. Daniel's face fell. "You're wasting your gift," he said softly. "One day you'll regret it. Dreams mean nothing without action." Ethan smiled weakly, but deep inside he felt a sting of guilt. He wanted to be better, to shine, but fear of effort and discomfort held him back. Still, he returned to daydreaming, believing laziness was harmless. Weeks passed. The villagers grew impatient. Farmers complained about late plows. Guards grumbled about delayed swords. Even the children whispered, "Why doesn't Ethan finish his work?" One day, the village chief himself came to Ethan's workshop. "Ethan," he said firmly, "your laziness is hurting the village. The tools are late. Farmers can't work. If you don't change, you will lose your place here." Ethan's heart sank. For the first time, he realized his dreams meant nothing if he couldn't even complete a single task. That night, he sat alone beside a half-forged sword. The moonlight glimmered on the cold iron, and he whispered to himself, "I want to be great, yet I can't even push myself to work." The next morning, a stranger arrived in the village. He was an old blacksmith named Samuel, known far and wide for his skill and wisdom. Samuel had heard of Ethan's talent and decided to visit him. "Ethan," Samuel said kindly, "I see your potential, but talent alone will never make you great. Do you know the secret?" Ethan shook his head eagerly. Samuel smiled. "The secret is simple. You must force yourself to work even when you don't feel like it. Discipline is like iron. You must hammer it every day, even when your hands ache. Only then does it become strong." He leaned closer and added, "Start small. Work for just 5 minutes, then 10, then an hour. Show up every single day. Motivation fades, but consistent action will always carry you forward." Ethan decided to try. The first day he lifted his hammer with heavy arms. His hands ached, his eyes felt tired, and he wanted to stop. But he remembered Samuel's words. He worked for 5 minutes, then 10, then 30. By sunset, a small plow was finished. The next day was even harder. He wanted to rest, to watch the clouds, to do nothing. But a quiet voice inside whispered, Today, I'll show up no matter how I feel. Slowly, Ethan began to notice small victories. The first sword he polished gleamed brighter than he had imagined. A farmer smiled gratefully when Ethan handed him a plow, and even the children stopped whispering and started cheering softly when they saw him working. Days turned into weeks. Each morning Ethan struggled, but he forced himself to lift the hammer. Each evening he saw progress. A sword finished, a plow repaired, a tool polished. Momentum grew, and with each success, his confidence rose. The man who once wasted his mornings was becoming someone the village could rely on. Months passed, and Ethan's workshop became full of completed tools, shining swords, and sturdy plows. Villagers came from distant lands to see his craftsmanship. Orders flooded in. Finally, Ethan's skill matched his discipline. One evening, Samuel visited again. "Look at your work," he said. "Do you see the difference?" Ethan smiled proudly. "Yes," he said. "It wasn't easy. Some days I wanted to quit. Some days I hated the work, but I kept going. And now I feel alive, strong, and proud. I finally feel like the man I always dreamed of becoming." Samuel nodded. That is the power of discipline. Motivation comes and goes. Desire fades. But action, steady, daily action, will always carry you forward. Never wait for feelings. Be the one who works even when it's hard. That is how greatness is born. Ethan had learned a lesson that changed his life forever. You are not lazy or weak. You just need to push yourself, one small step at a time. Action builds momentum. Discipline shapes character. And character creates a life worth living. From that day on, Ethan became a symbol of strength in the village, not just for his skill, but for his courage to overcome his own laziness. People still tell his story today, reminding everyone that the road to greatness is never easy, but it's always possible. If you love this story and want more tales that inspire, motivate, and guide you toward a better life, then hit subscribe to the Tales with English channel. Every story you watch here can spark change, teach a powerful lesson, and help you become the person your future self will be proud of.